My name is Jennifer Crumbley, and I'm the defendant in this case.
And how old are you?
I'm 45.
Mrs. Crumbley, the jury has heard so much testimony. Do you agree?
Yes.
I'm going to go a little bit faster through things, and if there's something we need to explain, or if I'm cutting you off, let me know. Okay? And you understand that as I speak, you have to wait for me to finish speaking?
Correct.
Okay. So, Mrs. Crumbley, very briefly, go ahead and tell the jury what you did for a living.
I was a marketing director at a real estate acquisition company.
And how long did you hold that position?
5 years.
Now, does that kind of position include any kind of presentations or public speaking, anything like that?
Not a lot.
Okay. And how do you feel right now about talking to this jury?
Public speaking is probably my biggest fear, so very nervous.
Okay. And at times, you have been upset during this trial, is that correct?
Correct.
Are you okay to keep proceeding?
Yes.
I want you to tell this jury just a little bit about your personality, and I think we've seen some of it on the videos. Is that fair to say?
You have.
Okay, let's talk about when you have a really stressful situation. What is your, let's say an animal dies in your family or a person dies in your family. How do you handle something like that, news like that?
I go into a planning mode. I internalize things, and my reaction is to take care of other things that may have to be taken care of, like financials or things that keep the house running. I tend to hold things in, and I let it out when I'm alone. So having a lot of emotions for me is difficult.
Now, in this case, aside from this case, is that true in other situations of your life?
Yeah.
Can you give the jury an example?
Yeah, my husband had a hard time holding down a job after his mother passed away. So when he would lose a job, I would actually be the one finding the ones for him and sending them from Indeed or Monster and taking plans of how we're going to put certain things on payments. It's just, I take control of things. That's just what I do.
Okay. And you, I want to talk to you. You mentioned your husband. When did you and James Crumbley meet?
In October of 2004.
And how long have you been together then?
It will be 18 years this September.
And are you still together and married at this time?
We are.
Have you spoken to him recently?
No.
How long has it been since you've spoken to him?
A little over 2 years.
So since the day of the shooting?
Correct.
Or not shooting, the day
Yes.
you were arrested?
Correct.
You have a son?
Yes.
The jury's heard a lot about your son. Okay. I want to talk about your son prior to November 30th, okay?
Okay.
Tell the jury how old he was at that time.
He was 15 years old.
And give the jury an idea about what kinds of things he was into, what his hobbies included.
Oh, he was really into bowling. He was actually really good at it. He was into metal detecting. What
do you mean by metal detecting?
We have a metal detector, so we would go to the beach, or we went to Florida, out by the ocean, or the neighbor's yard. They weren't there anymore, so you go in the neighbor's yard and see if you can find old coins or cans or whatever he would find. But he really liked that. He was into his BB guns and target practice. We had a half acre of land in the village of Oxford that went straight back. So in the backyard, we set up little targets that we got from Amazon that you can just kind of shoot down, like little whatever. He was into his video games. He did soccer from age 3 until 9th grade. He had a lot of different interests. Coin collecting.
Do you have some interests?
I do.
Okay, we've heard about horses.
I like horses. I also snow ski. I'm a big reader, and I worked a lot, so I didn't have a lot of time to do the reading. But
okay, now when you say snow skiing, did you ever... back up. Were there any activities that you and Ethan enjoyed doing together?
Yes. I joined the ski patrol because the family can ski free, and also to help people out. So I got him into skiing at the age of 7, and he would come out with me on my patrol shifts and come skiing with me. So we were in that together.
What about horses? Did he ever go out to the barn with you?
He did, but he didn't really like horses. The one horse I had was kind of aggressive, so it intimidated him, and it kind of turned him off from going to the barn. It's kind of boring if you're not the person with the horse. There's a lot of standing around and a lot of nothing.
Okay. So would you spend time together with him at home?
Yeah.
Okay, tell the jury what kinds of things you guys did together or as a family.
We did a lot of board games. We also had the virtual reality set for the PS4, so we did a lot of the Beat Saber. You can probably Google that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It's like you're holding lightsabers and it has music, and you have to like hit the beats, but it's all in 3D. So it's a virtual reality headset.
Okay, so you would do that with him?
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
We had a pool. We liked swimming together. I mean, really just normal stuff.
Okay, did you do holiday things?
We did.
Give us some examples.
So every year around Thanksgiving, I always cook Thanksgiving dinner. The day after, we would go cut our Christmas tree down. And then we would decorate that weekend. We would watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Halloween, we grew our own pumpkins. So we always carved our own pumpkins and had a whole bunch put around the house. Easter, it's normal family stuff.
Did you have an interest in like home improvement kind of stuff?
Yeah, our house was an auction house. So basically it was wrapped in blue tarp when we bought it at auction. So we've been trying to improve the house since 2015. So we new roof, exterior, and then I've been working on exterior and interior ever since.
Were there things that your son was interested in outside of video games? Was there anything academic that he was interested in?
He really liked history. He was a big history buff. We can play Trivial Pursuit, and he would get me in history every single time. But that was probably his only favorite subject. The rest he could do without.
How did he do in school?
He did good if he applied himself. His problem was he didn't try as hard as I think he could, so he had up and down grades. I would say he's about average.
Okay, and when you say about average, was that something that you talked to him about? Was that something you monitored? Tell the jury about that.
Yeah, you heard about the Power School app during this trial, so I had it on my phone, and I was on it multiple times a day. And his grades would fluctuate based on what assignments the teachers turned in on the Power School app. Our biggest struggle with him were missing assignments. That was the one thing we battled all the time.
Why was that a hot button issue for you?
Because there's no reason why he should have missing assignments. He had a homeroom class and get assignments done in.
Okay. There were, you talked about your job. What were the average hours you worked a week?
I usually I got to the office between 7 and 8 in the morning and leave anywhere between 4 and 6.
And we've heard lots of evidence already. It was family friendly.
Yeah.
Were you able to go and leave and go as you needed to?
Pretty much, yep.
Did you care about your job?
I did a lot.
Okay. Explain, did you have any changes in positions over the year or year and a half, 2 years before this?
I did. When I first started with the company, I was hired in as a social media coordinator. I stayed in that role until about 2020. I got promoted to director of marketing. And I held the position until I was terminated.
Okay. And you were, did you work during COVID?
I did. I worked remotely for about 6 months during COVID. Then I went back to the office in, I believe it was August of 2020.
Did you enjoy work?
I did. It was fun. It was marketing's. It's exciting, and I like doing graphic design. I did. I really liked my job.
Now, the jury already heard about Brian. Brian testified.
Correct.
Tell the jury about Brian.
Well, I've known him since high school. We've been friends since then. He's part of the horse community. He has horses. And as you heard yesterday, we did have an extramarital affair. That's probably the extent of our, but we were good friends too.
How often in terms of the affair, how often would you spend time together with Brian during 2021?
Maybe an average of once a week.
Okay. How long How long did the affair last over?
About 6 months.
Do you feel like that affair caused you to neglect Ethan or not spend time with him, your son, in any way?
No.
Explain why you don't feel that's the case.
Because when I met with Brian, it was in the mornings. On his way home from the station, he would pass my work. And so the time I was coming to work, we would meet at the Costco parking lot. And that was it. He'd go out about his day, I'd go about mine.
And is it fair to say that you lied to keep that affair going?
Yes, I did.
And I apologize if I asked this, I just am not writing notes. Did you say the date range that started?
It was around spring of 2021.
Okay. And as far as you knew, did you ever talk to your son about that?
No. And
did you ever talk to your husband about it?
No.
If anything, you lied to him about what you were doing, or lied by omission, not telling him.
No, yeah. As far as I knew, I was going to work in the morning. That was. Yeah.
Okay. Outside of those morning times, how many other times would you say you and Brian got together?
It was 2 or 3. I went on some business trips where I would stay overnight, and he would meet me. He would meet me at the hotel.
So that happened 2 or 3 times?
2 or 3 times.
Were there other business trips you took where he did not meet you?
Yeah, there's quite a few.
When Christy Gibson Marshall testified, do you remember who she was?
I do.
Who was she?
She was the assistant vice principal.
And she commented she knew Ethan in elementary school, or she knew your son in elementary school, correct?
Correct.
And she said she testified obviously already about recognizing him. Did that surprise you?
No.
She also mentioned something about emails with you. Do you recall having email exchanges with her?
There is one regarding his report card, getting additional help in math.
Was there any time at that point or into high school that you ever had to email with teachers about discipline issues?
Not discipline, no.
How often would you email about missing assignments or grade type issues?
That was a regular thing.
Okay, and you said you monitor power schools every day. Approximately how many times a month would you say you went to the teachers, or was it weekly? I don't know.
It would be, I wouldn't say it was on a regular basis, but when it happened, it was a series of messages. He'd be struggling in geometry, and so me and the teacher would message back and forth quite a bit, and then he'd start getting better and it was die off. So it was sporadic, but it was a lot when it happened.
Now, we saw pictures of your house.
Yes.
How did you feel about seeing those pictures?
Horrible.
Okay, why is that?
Because my son has a very messy room, and it was right after Thanksgiving, and we hosted Thanksgiving, and it was pretty messy. It was kind of embarrassing.
Okay.
Really embarrassing.
Explain the 2-bedroom thing, or what was going on with that.
My son, he had 1 bedroom, and it got out of control. And every time I go to clean it, I just shut the door. I just didn't want to deal with it. So then I told him he could just use the guest bedroom until I could get his room deep cleaned. The day before Thanksgiving, I was deep cleaning because we have people over every Thanksgiving. And my intention was to clean both rooms, but I caught my oven on fire in the self-clean mode. So instead, I had the fire department out and everything. So instead of getting his rooms clean, I was scraping out the black charcoal stuff inside your oven so I could cook dinner the next day. But yeah, he was in a 2nd bedroom because I didn't want to clean his room anymore. It was enough.
Did you have any plans to do anything with all that stuff?
Yeah, we're going through a lot of stuff because he outgrew a lot of the clothes and the shoes. There's a lot of toy-like things that he doesn't use anymore, so we're just going to pack it up and donate it.
Okay, and when were you planning to do that?
Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, before he got new stuff.